It is in the dead of summer here in Kansas City. And when temperatures reach upwards of 110 degrees, sometimes even higher, us Kansas Cityans, what we love to do, we love to get on the lake. You may be asking yourself, Ben, I see lake houses behind you. I see a beautiful lake. You must be in some fancy schmancy part of Kansas City. Oh, no, no, no. I am actually just 10 minutes out of downtown Kansas City. You want to know where I'm at? You're gonna have to stick around till right after the intro. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Ben Miller, and if you want to know what it's like to eat, breathe, sleep, drink, water ski, not on this lake, everything Kansas City, you are in the right place. And all I need you to do is hit that subscription and notification bell down at the bottom. If you like what I'm doing, do me a favor. As I've said before in other videos, and as all YouTubers say, because unfortunately, whether I'd like to admit it or not, I am a YouTuber. But what you guys need to do is hit that like button. Now, not smash it, not grab it, not tickle it, but rather just mash it into the ground. And that way the YouTube algorithm knows what we're doing here each and every week. And so that way my videos get boosted up, and you know, it's called defeating the algorithm. So here we are today, 10 minutes outside of Kansas City. Now I know what you're thinking, Ben, it can't possibly be this peaceful and quiet 10 minutes outside of the city. Well, it is. Because today I'm in Raytown, Missouri. That's right, Raytown. I've gotten a lot of comments, a lot of questions, and a lot of concerns, quite frankly, when people are moving from out of state to here in Kansas City. They go, well, I heard you have to stay out of Raytown. I heard that Independence is really bad too. And I heard that Raytown is awful and blah, blah, blah. And you know, we check Crime Stoppers or crimemaps.org or whatever it is, and it just looks so awful out there. Well, as you guys all know, and I've said before time and time again, Kansas City is in fact the city of pockets. It doesn't matter where you go. Could be Raytown, could be Independence, could be everywhere in between. There's gonna be good areas and bad areas. But the one thing I love doing on this channel, and the one thing I love teaching my clients about, is the fact that, guess what? I know better than your aunt that lives in Lenexa. I know better than your best friend who used to live in Overland Park. Yeah, I would have thought when I first came out here that Raytown would be kind of like, you know, because you drive through some parts of Raytown and you're like, looks kind of worse for wear in some areas. But again, that's any area of Kansas City. But as you see, as I'm walking around this lake, this is in Raytown. This is 10 minutes outside of the city. This is called Wildwood Lakes. And Wildwood Lakes is one of the communities that I stumbled upon when I first moved to the city. And boy, was I blown away. I mean, I was looking for a place to fish because I love fishing. That's why I love lakes so much. That's why so many of these videos are gonna have lake communities in them, because it's where I wanna live. I mean, come on, think about it. Look at this. I mean, how could you not like waking up to that view every morning? How could you not want to sit there and be like, I want to drink a cup of coffee on my porch that's overlooking a lake? I know what you're thinking. Well, Ben, you're on a lake. That must mean it's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars, or, you know, $500,000 to $1 million to live there. No, 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 no. That's one of the great parts about Raytown, and one of the great parts about Wildwood Lakes, and why I stick a lot of my first-time home buyers into Raytown. The cost of living out here to buy a house is still super cheap. Now, one of those lake houses right across the lake that you might have seen through the trees here, like one of those right there, fully renovated, is only gonna go for about $350,000. Maybe a little bit higher. You can still score some properties out here that need a little bit of work, and you're gonna be spending around $175,000 to $225,000. for a house by the lake. Now, this lake isn't something that you're gonna get a speedboat on, or even can get a speedboat on and race up and down the lake. But man, would you rather have this view and have a couple paddle boards and kayaks? Or would you rather not live by the lake at all? And like I said in the intro, this is what we do in Kansas City. When it gets super hot, we go to the lake. So let's take a spin around Wildwood Lakes, show you some of the sights and sounds. I've got another surprise coming up for you after this drive. hope you enjoyed that footage of Wildwood Lakes. I mean, what an awesome community to be a part of. And by the way, that community is super tight. Everybody knows everybody. If you want a tight-knit neighborhood in Raytown with that kind of a beautiful view, I don't think you can go wrong with Wildwood Lakes. So I decided I was going to show you yet another lake community, because again, what people don't tell you when they talk about Raytown or Independence, or people that they think they're in the know about those certain areas, what they don't tell you is that there's not one but 2 lake communities right in Raytown. So I took a literal half-a-mile drive down the street outside of Wildwood Lakes, and it landed me here at Oak Hill Lake Estates, not too far from Wildwood Lakes. And again, much like Wildwood, this is a place that you can call home and have a view of the water pretty much no matter which house you land yourself in. Now, as you see behind me, the houses here in Oak Hill Lake Estates are actually much bigger and much newer than Wildwood Lakes. Now, I will say, as far as a lake goes, I like Wildwood Lakes a lot better. It's a lot bigger, it's a lot more peaceful and tranquil. This is just more like a viewing lake. You know, it's not something that you would necessarily want to go kayaking on all the time because it's relatively small. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a nice lake, but it's not as nice as Wildwood Lakes. But as far as houses go, the houses here in Oak Hill Lake are fantastic. They're, like I said, they're a lot newer and they're a lot bigger. As you can see behind me, there's a house right there. You can see it right there. That is pretty much a castle. And especially some of you that are watching from California and other overpriced states know, I mean, even to get yourself on a body of water, no matter if it's a lake or an ocean, is gonna cost you an arm and a leg. Now, houses here in Oak Lake Estates, they're gonna run you a little bit higher than Wildwood. And I don't know necessarily why that is. Maybe it's the size of the houses here are bigger. Maybe it's the fact that they're newer construction. Whatever the case is, here in Oak Lake, you're gonna start basement probably about 300 and work your way up all the way to 430s, mid 4s. I mean, you're not gonna get much above mid 4s. I mean, here in Raytown, 400,000 and, you know, about that price range is as high as you're going to get no matter where you land in Raytown. But still, anywhere else, these types of houses without the lake, on the Kansas side, or in a nicer part up north near Riss Lake or somewhere near Parkville, any one of these houses that I've showed you in Wildwood or in Oak Hill is going to be like $500,000. You know, maybe it might be worth it to check out Raytown. Give it another try in your head, because I know, again, some people are like, oh no, Raytown's so awful. But I mean, is it that awful? Judge for yourself. So we're going to take a spin around Oak Hill Lake Estates. It's a quick drive. It's not a lot of houses, but you'll get the vibe. And we're going to finish off the day in something maybe even more amazing. Let me be honest with you, so you saw Oak Hill Lake Estates and you were like, wow, that looks really great. And if my editor did a good job, then you saw downtown Raytown. And yeah, so here I am in my truck cutting off downtown Raytown views, because quite frankly, I knew going into this, one of the downsides of Raytown is it really doesn't have a downtown to speak of. That's not to say that there's not some good eateries. That's not to say that there's not a good coffee shop or two. Usually my prerequisite, easy for me to say, for a good suburb or a good neighborhood or a good city, whatever you want to call it, outside of Kansas City, is it has to have that really awesome downtown. Something that you can go shopping in, something you can eat in, all that kind of stuff. Raytown ain't got it. But the great thing about Raytown is that it's 15 minutes away from everything. It's 15 minutes away, or 10 or 15 minutes away from all the greatness that is downtown Kansas City. It is 10 or 15 minutes away from Lee Summit. It's 10 and 15 minutes away from pretty much anywhere awesome that you want to be. But Raytown, I promise you, in the next 5 years, will be on the come up. Now I'm going to take you somewhere else, and we're going to wrap this whole thing up and talk about the good and the bad of living in Raytown. See you on the other side. We are here with the hope of all of Raytown. I'm just kidding. But something that I have a lot of hope in, and this place behind me, Crane Brewing, is a part of it. Now, as I said before, downtown Raytown may not be much, may not have a lot of the things that a lot of you are looking for, but what it does have is it has hope, and part of that hope is Crane Brewing. Crane Brewing is one of the best microbrews in all of the Kansas City area, and their tasting room right behind me often has a lot of good pop-ups that come through for food. And obviously you can go in and taste any of their great special brews, you know, Monday through Sunday pretty much. But I have hope. I have hope that in 5 years, Raytown will be one of the best areas to live in all of Kansas City. And as you saw in the little bits of downtown, I mean, you have places like Gnarly Hustle, which is a great vintage clothing store, places like Crane Brewing, and other places really give this town a lot of hope for a revitalization that it desperately needs. Now, to sum it all up, Raytown is a great area to be. There are so many more other communities outside of the lake communities that I showed you that would be perfect for you and your family possibly. So some of the pros, let's go down some of the pros. So Josh put pros right here. So some of the pros is, obviously it's cheap. You can get a really good house for $160,000 anywhere in Raytown. Now that depends on how big you want your house, but still your entry price is basically $160 to $170. So it's cheap. That's a huge pro. Now another big pro is you can get some really decent sized pieces of land with the property that you buy. It is not unheard of in Raytown to have a half an acre to an acre to even more attached to the house that you buy. So you get a lot of bang for your buck. And again, that's why I stick a lot of my first time home buyers and a lot of buyers in general into Raytown. And number 3 is it's super close to everything. 10 or 15 minutes away. If you don't like what Raytown has to offer right now, you can go to Lee Summit, you can go to Waldo, which is, you know, further south in Kansas City. You can go to downtown Kansas City. Everything is literally a 15-minute drive and a quick hop on the freeway at that. So those are the good parts about Raytown. Now, you know, I'd like to give you the full rundown of every place that I visit, so let's talk about the cons. The cons are downtown kind of sucks right now. There's not a lot of going on. So Josh put cons, downtown kind of sucks. It's just the way it is. I like to be honest with you guys. Second thing, that's the major con. Actually, we should switch these around, Josh. So put this as number 1. So downtown kind of sucking is number 2. This is number 1. And the number 1 thing that the reason why people don't live in Raytown is that the schools are not rated very highly. Now, I'm not saying I believe that the schools are not good here in Raytown, but according to certain rating systems, a lot of the schools, if not most of them, suffer the same fate as Kansas City, Missouri in general. The public school system just isn't highly rated. Now, I think there's 1 or 2 elementary schools that are fairly highly rated, but for more information on that, go to greatschools.org. The final con of living in Raytown is, I mean, it kind of goes without saying, but it should be noted on here if nothing else. The parts of Raytown that are really bad are really bad. Now, I'm not saying crime because, again, people's crime and safety, or people's feelings of crime and safety can vary from person to person. But I'm talking about rundownness of houses. A lot of these houses suffered greatly when people left and went to other parts of the city, and some of the houses here are in bad disrepair. So, but what that means is you could hop into a house if you got the money and or the time and or the materials to fix up a house. You could land yourself a great house. But in certain pockets of Raytown, the houses are very dilapidated and it's just not in good shape. But like I said, I really feel like Raytown is one of those cities, one of those suburbs that's going to be on the up in the next 5 years. Well, that's it for me. I'm gonna go hop into Crane Brewery and see if they have any specials that I can drink today. I don't drink, but I'm gonna hop in there and see if they have any food or something to drink, because it's pretty hot out here. One of the things I love the most is showing you, the viewer at home, what it's like to live in certain areas of Kansas City. And Raytown is a pretty special area. Now don't forget to smash that like button, or to shoot it, with a bow and arrow, stab it with a knife, I don't care. Hit that like button. Josh put it up all throughout the video. If you want to get a hold of me, want the inside scoop on what it's like to live here in Kansas City or anywhere in the metro area, all you have to do is give me a text at area code 661-236-9055. Or you can hit me up at benmiller@kansascityhomes.com. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'm Ben Miller. I'm putting the real back in real estate. And thank you for watching Wrestling with Real Estate on my new GoPro camera, brother.